Houston Cougars football is back underway for 2023, the first year in the Big 12 Conference for the University of Houston Athletics. It's a huge moment for UH, and it's a new era. The Cougars, in their first game as members of the Big 12, got the win versus the UTSA Roadrunners. Houston versus San Antonio, they got the win 17-14 at TDCU for their first home game, wearing, of course, the electric blue Houston Oilers commemorative uniforms. Huge hype for this team. We're going to preview it all and break down the 2023 Houston Cougars. UH was able to get the win, like I said, against UTSA. Let's talk about the main takeaways from that. UH is now 3-1 versus University of Texas San Antonio. They are 30-16 in home openers and have won 7 out of their last 9. Dana Holgorsen said on Monday when I was at the press conference, said, "We're underdogs at home, can't wait." He also said, "Nobody thinks we're any good. Let's line up and see." And they certainly did line up and show it. And they were able to get it done in a close game. Wasn't too pretty, but that's what happens in week 1. They're able to get it done. Holgorsen said after the game today, they're in work in progress. They still need to open up the offense more. A lot of good takeaways from this one. Donovan Smith, the new quarterback for the Houston Cougars into this new era. Bit spotty, that's what Holgorsen said. 65% completion, 233 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Donovan. Samuel Brown, new wide receiver, 6 catches for 106 for the 2. Highlights, he had Joseph Manjack IV with a 6 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Number 15, Malik Fleming was very impressive. Holgorsen said a lot of great things about him. Great story for him. 48-yard, punt return, and he had 2 interceptions. I think that was quite impressive. I think the Oilers uniforms, of course, were an incredible touch. Super popular. Fans just can't wait to get their hands on them. Made this game have even more hype. Defense, they played pretty good. I will say 3 interceptions were great. They do still give up these chunk plays here and there. Offense was inconsistent, but you expect that in week 1 with this team. 50% of the team is new. You have 25% of the team transfers. So it's a whole new group that you have here. So it's going to take a few games for this team to get kind of used to each other. A couple of good drives came up big on that interception, converting into a touchdown. Donovan was primarily using Manjack and Sam Brown. Used Matthew Golden a little bit. Running game was not too impressive with Tony Mathis and Stacey Sneed, and they need to work on that. It's not going to be tough. It's going to be tough against Rice this week as well. But let's talk about, the Cougars and this transition. We talked about the baby blue uniforms, which is great. The largest crowd that TDSU has seen in 6 years on Saturday versus the Roadrunners. And the big question for this team was whether they were ready for the moment. I mean, when you look at the history, they're only Texas program with 20-plus wins and 2-plus bowl wins the last 2 seasons. So you think, yeah, they're ready for it. But in 2022, it was disappointing. You had tons of injuries. You were ranked number 24 to start the year. You had Clayton Tune as your quarterback, Tank Dell on offense. That was a lot of experience right there. Injuries really hurt them. Ended up 5th in the American Athletic Conference, 7-5, and they won the Independence Bowl, but wasn't what you wanted. Now this year, you got a new look team. 50 newcomers, 23 transfers, but lots of Big 12 experience. So this team is a Big 12 team, which no doubt about it. And I think this team is slightly better. They're more balanced. I think 25% of this team has Power 5 experience, which is what you want to see. And it starts with the QB, Donovan Smith, who was at Texas Tech for 3 years. Had 66% completion, 12 touchdowns in 12 games last year for the Red Raiders, 1,500 yards. Played in 11 games his freshman year. 2 years ago was MVP in the Liberty Bowl. He was a dual threat. He can run quite good, 154 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns for him, 61% completion. He's only the second quarterback in the Big 12 with 10-plus rushing yards and 19 passing touchdowns. I think he's played pretty well in general versus the top teams in the Big 12 or in college football. 21 games at Texas Tech. It's a very good experience. You have that O-line, lots of experience, 192 total games of experience with this offensive line. Strong experience transfers. We talked about this. Let's jump right into the running backs. Tony Mathis from West Virginia, 4 years of Big 12 experience. Going to be playing well. Nothing's going to be too big for him. That's what Holgorsen said. 11th in rushing last year in the Big 12. Stacey Sneed led UH with 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. Brandon Campbell led the carries last season with 4 touchdowns. And you're going to be mixing those 3 in. Well, Holgorsen mentioned Parker Jenkins, the freshman, as another option for them. And And then you talk about this defensive line. You have Nelson Caesar, who's one of the main stars on this team. First team all Big 12, going to be making an impact this year. You have David Uwobo, if I said his name right, 51 games at Oklahoma State. He was a captain there. Tight end Mac Laughlin from West Virginia as well. You have Alex Hogan, who's going to be back this year as corner. He has Big 12 experience. Pat Paul on the offensive line. He's going to be really, really good for this team. Strong group of wide receivers. You talk about Matthew Golden, true freshman touchdown record holder, was super impressive last year. Preseason all Big 12 first team. Maxwell preseason award watch list. So Matthew Golden is a star in the making for the Houston Cougars. 38 catches for 600 yards and 7 touchdowns last year. You have Sam Brown, we saw him. Joseph Manjack, saw what he can do. You have a freshman called Michaela Harrison Pilot. Hasn't played a whole lot, but one of the highest recruits ever by UH. You also have Joshua Cobbs in there for UH. So I really like, the wide receiver room here. Running backs pretty good. You have Chidozie, Cedric Williams, both 4-year vets on the D-line. They're solid. Sack Ave is not dead, according to Dana Holgorsen. We'll see. Only 1 sack against UTSA. That was Nelson Caesar. So got a lot of good guys on this team that can really help, and they've had experience too. So I like kind of where they're at in the group of guys that you have. And Holgorsen talked about the experienced guys are O-line, D-line, which is good. And speaking of Holgorsen, 17th year in the Big 12 now for Dana. Lots of Big 12 experience. 8 years at West Virginia, 2012 to 2018. 18-9 the last 3 seasons there at West Virginia. Oklahoma State in 2010. 8 years at Texas Tech. 2000 to 2007. His 5th season at Houston this year. 28-20 is the record for him. I asked Dana Holgorsen during camp about using his Big 12 experience. Let me show you guys that.
That's a good question. You did your homework, huh? I know. But, I've brought this up. I think it's been good for preparation. It's been good for what we need. It's been good for building the product. It's been good for, building the staff. I've talked about Big 12. I've talked about travel. I know how to travel, all that stuff. Once it comes game week, it's just another game. My expertise doesn't matter. It's all about the preparation that myself and our staffs and our offense, defense, special teams do. Then it's kind of up to, just lining up and playing against good teams, So, whether you want to hear this or whether you don't, there's a lot of good coaches in this league that has a lot of Big 12 experience, Thankfully, we've added coaches and players that have Big 12 experience, So I don't think it's going to be too big for anybody. I'm excited to be a part of it.
There's a new coach on this team. That's Iman Nagavi. He is the running game coordinator / offensive line. Talked about him, asked Dana Holgorsen about him and what he likes about him. And Dana really appreciates the job that he's done. He's a Houston native. He was at Tulane last year when they won the American Athletic and Cotton Bowl. Let's hear what he said about him.
Awesome. As good as advertised. I've been tracking him for a while. He's got a lot of Katy High School in him. They've been pretty successful, and he's done a great job of developing. Awesome. He's energetic. His knowledge is really good. Just the run game knowledge, I learn something every day. So just excited about having him here.
And asked Dana last Monday about Donovan Smith, the new quarterback. You need to know more about him and the kind of guy that he is.
He's a coach's kid. He's smart. He's intelligent. He understands how to be a good teammate. He didn't come in and try and be somebody that he's not. I think it's the biggest key. So every week he became a better player. Every week he became a better teammate. Every week he became a better, just overall teammate, so to speak. Relationship with the receivers, line, all that stuff solid. He's getting more comfortable with what we're asking him to do. I think him and our entire team is just at the point where we got to play.
And then finally, Dana talks about the roster, kind of the main takeaways, and kind of what he's excited about for this group.
Sac Ave is not dead. We've got some guys that look pretty good rushing the passer. But everybody looks good right now. We're practicing well. We're competing hard. There's depth at every position. So Receiver room looks good. The running back room looks like it's got a lot of potential. Our O-line is collectively coming together, which I've been excited about that. DBs have been flashing. Every position group looks different to me because of competition.
And now let's talk about what I saw at training camp. I was at Houston Cougars training camp earlier last month in August, and I started to cover the team more this year. Now in my second year at the UHS, for college, wanting to be, a student journalist. I like the energy of the team. Overall, like what I saw. Feeling pretty good about them. Like the feel, like the guys. D-line is looking really good, like the whiteouts. Both of those two groups are very strong. Quarterbacks are pretty calm. Talked to a couple of the guys this year. Stacey Sneed, Alex Hogan, using his Big 12 experience, and had an exclusive Matthew Golden, top wide receiver for this team. Here's what he said.
Overall, I'm a team player, just wanting to win and just play with my teammates, of course. But, stats-wise, I'm not really worried about stats. I just want to win and just play a big role on my team, being that vocal leader, try to be more vocal and just be a good team player. I'll say, we've been waiting to get in this position for a minute, so just us being able to play in the Big 12, that's a big responsibility, and we're looking to it, I know the city of Houston excited for it, and we're most definitely excited for it. So, we just got to keep our head down and keep working.
And Stacey Sneed, pretty solid, but he likes that new running back room that they have.
Yeah, the new guys, they something special. It's gonna be exciting to see this year with all this playing. It's a lot of speed, we got physicality this year. It's really everything in the room is.
And then Alex Hogan using his Big 12 experience, I think that's going to be really key.
Mostly I tell the DBs, like, every game we're going to play a good receiver, somebody that's supposed to be in the NFL. So you got to take every game rep, every practice rep the same way. Like, you got to treat it like game every day because you never know who you're going against.
And then finally, I talked to the wide receivers coach for the Cougars, Dakiel Shorts Jr., about what he thinks about the wide receiver group.
The Houston kids, all of those guys are familiar with each other,
right.
So it makes my job a little easier. They trust each other, they coach each other. Like a kid like Matthew, we've known Matthew for damn near 3 years, going on 4 years, just from recruiting him.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just take the coaching. That's the biggest thing. We're just looking for guys that's going to be able to compete day in and day out, work hard, and just somebody that we can trust and rely on. The plays are going to come. All those dudes in that room are talented. It's just about being consistent at this point.
So now that you have a complete breakdown on the Houston Cougars, let's talk about their schedule. Rice is up next, the Bayou Bucket at Rice Stadium. That should be a W. TCU at home, that's a national game on Fox at 7 o'clock here in Houston. That is going to be tough. I think they're going to lose that one. Sam Houston at home, I think that's going to be a win. At Texas Tech, I think that is going to be a win as well. I think Donovan Smith is going to impress in that. At this point, you're what? 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. You're 4-2 at this point. West Virginia, here, I think you can beat them. That's 5-2. K-State, that's tough. They were the Big 12 champs last year. Texas, that is going to be tough. Baylor, going to be a close one right there at Baylor. Cincinnati here, I think UH has played a lot against Cincinnati. I'm not sure how that's going to go. Oklahoma State and then UCF. I think they should beat UCF, and Oklahoma State might be hard. But you have 10 games in Texas this year, the most in 33 years. UH only leaves the state 2 times. And 7 games on campus at TDECU. This is a pretty tough schedule. 6th toughest nationally, toughest in Texas, and the 2nd toughest in the Big 12. My prediction is 7-5. I think the same record as last year, or 6-6, which I don't think is too bad for the first year in the Big 12. I think it's a very exciting year up ahead for the Houston Cougars. First year in the Big 12. As always, go Cougs. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you in the next one.